Week 4 of National Poetry Month, celebrating Walt Whitman. Endless unfolding of ages and mine, a word of the modern, the word en masse, a word of the faith that never balks. Henceforward, it is all the same to me. I accept all. The mystic, baffling wonder alone completes all. I accept reality and dare not question it. Materialism first, last imbuing. Hurrah for positive science. Long live exact demonstration. Fetch stone crop, mist with cedar and branches of lilac. This is the lexicographer. This is the chemist. This made a grammar of old cartouches. Those mariners put the ship through dangerous unknown scene. This is the geologist. This works with scalpel, and this is a mathematician. Gentlemen, ladies, to you, the first honors always. Your facts are useful, and yet they are not my dwelling, but I enter by them. I enter by them. I enter by them to an area of my dwelling. Less the reminders of properties told these words, and more the reminders they of life untold, and of freedom extractions, carpe diem, seize the day. Welcome to the Chapel of Poetry, and we are celebrating the words of Walt Whitman right now. Welcome. Through me many long dumb voices, through me many long dumb voices speak. I hear you. You hear me speaking in the wind. This song of myself, I speak to you. Walt Whitman, father of free verse poetry. Father Walt Whitman, hello. I am listening for your voice out there in the dark. I am listening for you, Father Walt Whitman. What words do you have for me, for you today? I am he attesting sympathy. I am he attesting sympathy. I am the poet of goodness. I am a poet of goodness. Your birthday, happy birthday to you. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday, why smiley face. Happy birthday to you. My gate is no fault finder or rejecter's gate. I moisten the rocks of all that has grown. Father Walt Whitman, do you fear? Are you afraid? Are you afraid of the rain outside? Are you afraid of the sound of the world? Are you afraid? Are you afraid? The politics, the dark politics of the powerful, the manipulation of words, the manipulation of words, the manipulation of words by the power brokers of this world, manipulating minds, manipulating people, manipulation of a them versus us. Ages unfold, unfolding ages, ages unfold, unfolding ages. Time circles around the wheel of fortune. Time circles around and around and around and around. Time circles around. The rising and falling of the waves, the rising and the falling of the clouds. On the ground, it's fog. Up in the sky, it's a cloud. Gray, dark, you can't see through it. Gray, dark, you can't see through it. Rain falls down. Blessings, Fatima. Good afternoon to you. On the other side of this continent, side by side, there is a balance in nature. If we let it balance itself, it will balance. Nature reasserts itself if you just let it alone. Alone, not fiddling with it, it will flourish. If you want to remake the land, just reintroduce beavers to it. Those funny animals that gnaw down trees, annoy powerful landowners. They make great coats for some people, but we killed all the beavers. But they maintain the land, create balance, clean up waterways, restore life that the Creator made. They restore life. That's just one small thing. Let the beavers go free. Let the beavers go free, and they will create songs of themselves for us to see. Songs of themselves. Songs of themselves. Unscrew the locks from the doors. So back in the 1800s, when Father Walt Whitman was alive, the locks weren't so complex, but they screwed in doors. You could screw them in on the side. You'd probably still break them down with a battering ram. But I wrote some few poems here. Long, dumb voices. I will read a few poems that I wrote for week 4 of National Poetry Month. And in April, which is National Poetry Month, we are, if you are a poet writer, you can celebrate the poetry by writing one poem a day. I wrote 5 poems this week. The poems I wrote were this, as follows. There are many dumb voices, flashy feathers, teeter-tottering over the edge, straining upwards, breaking through rocky soil, seeking an audience, fingers fingering into the sky, blooming in you. Wounded, life closed, open, fierce, voices pierce, fog, clouds, flashy sun, rosy at dawn, dark at noon, gone by supper. A wounded voice raised up in me, dumb. Silence. I can't stop speaking, spewing crazy ass words unintelligible to you. Through me I hear nothing. When I look outside, raindrops sting my face. An illusion of beauty blows into the next valley over. Birds sing carols of death. An old withered hand creaking and clattering strangles life. Innovation strangles innovation in the promised land. 5. I hunger, I ache, I quake. Where are you who imagined me? Where are you who imagined me? Lost in a cacophony of unfiltered noise echoing off smooth walls. Inside, a symphony of dumb voices quavering, shiver in dark folds of flesh encased in hard bone. Those are the poems I came up with for my celebration of National Poetry Month. Do I have that book? Did I bring it in here? Or did I leave it someplace else? I left it someplace else. I wanted to celebrate some Allen Ginsberg with you. But I don't have any Allen Ginsberg. It's in the other room. But maybe I will celebrate another poem or two I wrote in the past. I will celebrate another poem or two I wrote in the past. The past. And then I will close. Oh, here is a poem I wrote in the past. It's titled Good Friday. Good Friday, of course, was last week ago Friday. Yesterday's grass weaves into threads of rubber, decaying off spoked iron tractor wheels, a thrasher harvester, and an ancient Ford pickup truck oxidize angry red into cracked clay of the lot. A barn ramshackled by too many recessions leans precariously into the forked crook of a maple tree. Twisters of dust rip along a dirt road to reveal poison grass and sun-baked bones in an abandoned field. A gray blanket hugs the bottom of heaven and licks the ground with unseen tongues of mist. Crows gather on drooping telephone wires. Picking fleas off each other. To stave off starvation, the ground quakes in bassy, emotive sobs of anticipation. For the coming tempest, two dirty children play in a lone 2x4 yard. They scream in a delightful noise, blowing clouds of soapy bubbles into the air, oblivious to a world gone astray, oblivious to a world gone astray outside their white picket fence. A vulture stands watching, waiting on a knobby-fingered arthritic oak, waiting. A high-pitched whine daggers through ears as the dream collapses into foreboding silence. Let's try this one. I haven't read this one in a long time. City of my birth. City of my birth. Pulling into Portland on a loaded wagon train that traveled I-5 from LA, laden heavy with broken dreams of not finding gold. Big obsidian tears fall from stormy clouds blown in from the Christmas sea. Drab streets are sad from a drenched guilt of miserable tears. Gutters flood, gurgle up like a fountain of butter and syrup dribbling over the edges of a 3 a.m. short stack at a highway Denny's. I'll be disembarking this gray haven in an hour at the City of Oz. I wonder which levers the wizard is pulling today. It is still pea soup outside, beating up on windows and windshields of this crowded Greyhound bus. Rubber blades work overtime, huffing and puffing like Oregonians, fattened by too many miles in cars, trying to scale Cherry Street from First Avenue. They furiously beat their brooms, cross route-worn sidewalks to wipe the water clean. I'm in Washington now. Salem, the Columbia, and Vancouver have disappeared into the rearview mirror. I'm rapidly approaching the long view towards home. Let's try one more. This is an oldie. Sometimes it's really hard to share your older poetry because I'm not in that place anymore that I wrote this. And I was in a darker place when I wrote this. And it is hard sometimes to go back there. It is hard to go back there to these places that we would just rather go away, to go away. But I will read this poem and then I will end this live stream for a couple days. I've always wanted to be grand. I've always wanted to be something grand. Is this a sham of a shy man to repent from honesty, meekness, to repent from being that nice guy girls in prison in Friendsville and never let out to screw? To repent from that boy who lives on the island of misfit toys and dive headlong into that mysterious trinity that exists only between two creamy things? To become like Cain, perverting truth, goodness into shades of depravity, living like Goldner or Carver or Bukowski, out of crap and piss-stained boarding house rooms with brick wall views above Skid Row bars. Strung out on coke or meth or heroin or being sloppy with booze or slumming with different hookers each night, not sleeping, but passing beyond sanity into that horror of living in the squalors of addictive behaviors and money malnourished diet. Learning firsthand that the devil is real and that personification of evil is holding your hand and you're singing kumbaya. You're screwed, skipping down that corridor to hell, waking each morning to neighbors screaming about being broke or working crappy ass jobs or the stupidity of a domestic partner or the retching splats of individuals infected with the Olympia flu, waking with a pounding headache, waking chasing painkillers with sour old E grimacing after each gulp, waking to slap paper into my grandfather's typewriter, the only thing left of him, displacing the pounding sounds in my head with the taps of little typewriter hammers, with the taps of little hammers making their music, beating ink into the fibrous page, waking to write another poem that will never publish, waking to woe is me, this is my life, I am living, it sucks, let me cram this poem cockwise into you. Can you see how crappy it is? No. I got the boarding house with the brick wall view right, but not the hardcore attic or the sleeping with whores. I can... Hi, I was reading an old poem. I got the boarding house with the brick wall view right, but not the hardcore attic or the sleeping with whores. I can see the logic of paying for sex. It's like basic retail therapy. Buy low, sell high, get the maximum value for the least amount of work. Purchase a physical want without the high cost of somebody screaming at you all the time for being a dumb, male, absent, insensitive prick, or for saying those un-PC things, or for being too cluttered, for not being able to purchase expensive shoes and jewelry, or for being too old-fashioned, or for dribbling piss on the seat, or for forgetting to put it down altogether, or for squeezing the toothpaste tube from the wrong direction, or not being willing or simply not being able to coherently frame up feelings into an interrelated synergy within a reasonable length of time, And that is what Kay dung me on 15 years ago. She'd ask me how I'd felt, and I'd get back to her a week later. She wasn't pleased. I'm surprised that most men don't go this route and skip the whole relationship thing altogether. No. I, for the most part, have lived this life as a closeted, church going poet, but I still do dream about grass, or rather the sin on the other side of the fence. I never dream anymore about having the prestige of academic position or being firmly anchored in the middle class of this middle class, or being in the wealthy class again, even though I do play the lottery mostly because of this damn albatross rotting around my neck that goes by the name of default student loans. Also, because I was almost struck by lightning, which means I'm lucky. This poem sucks that I'm reading to you through my long, dumb voices. But I'd much rather gamble my lottery allowance in on the ponies, and this is where I am like Raymond Carver and Charles Bukowski. The last time I gambled on horses, I changed 100, 200, 20. The last time I gambled on horses, I changed $20 into $1,500. And like this poem really sucks. I shouldn't have read it. I shouldn't have tried to read it at all. I'm sorry. I bored you guys. I used to read this a lot. And I used to read it a lot back when I was like 39 years old. And that's when I wrote it, was when I was 39 years old. I really apologize for having bored you all to death with this poem. Anyways, I did like this line in it. Learning firsthand that the devil is real and that this personification of evil is holding your hand while you're singing Kumbaya, you're screwed down that corridor to hell. I think that's my favorite. There was a lot of these word rhythms in here that I liked, and the thing I don't like about it is that it made me seem like I was like a incel or something like that, and had that energy. But this was, I wrote that before I'd ever even heard of that term, or even before that term was in the zeitgeist. And anyways, that's all I got for this week. Next week, I'm going to do something different. Maybe if Jeff isn't working at this time of day, he can come on and do poetry with me. We can do those real life tarot cards and see what we can come up with. Well, Fatima, thank you for being here. Tarot Ask Backward, thank you for being here. Shadow Sleeps. What? I don't know what. Why? Happy birthday. Hayaka. Welcome. Welcome. Welcome all. I think I'm going to rip up this poem. No, I'm just going to leave it here. Just never ever going to try and read it again. I apologize for my long, dumb voices. Through me, there are many long, dumb voices. But I know that when Walt Whitman said that, he was talking about dumb as in deaf. I think it was number 24. I'll read that poem, number 24. It's a long one, actually. Walt Whitman, a cosmos of Manhattan, the sun, turbulent, fleshy, sensual, eating, drinking, and breeding. No sentimentalist, no stander above men and women or apart from them. No modest, than immodest. Unscrew the locks and doors. Unscrew the locks and doors. Whoever degrades another degrades me, and whatever is done or said returns at last to me. Through me, the afflacious surging and surging through me, the current and index. I speak the password primeval. I give the sign of democracy. By God, I will accept nothing which all cannot have their counterpart part of the same terms. Through me, many long, dumb voices, voices of intermingle in generations of prisoners and slaves, voices of the diseased and despairing, and of thieves and dwarves, voices of the cycles of preparation and accretion, and of the threads that connect the stars and the wombs of the Father stuff, and of the rights of them the others are down upon, of the deformed, trivial, flat, foolish, despised, fog in the air, beetles rolling, balls of dung. Through me, forbidden voices, voices of sexes and lusts, voices veiled, and I'd remove the veil, voices indecent, by me clarified, transfigured. I do not press my fingers across my mouth. I do not press my fingers across my mouth. I keep as delicate around the bowels as around the head and heart. Copulation is no more rank to me than death is. I believe in the flesh and the appetites. Seeing, hearing, feeling are miracles, and each part and tag of me is a miracle. Divine, I am inside and out, and I make holy whatever I touch or am touched from. The scent of these armpits aroma finer than prayer. This head more than churches, Bibles, and all creeds. I can see now Allen Ginsberg in this poem when he begins that poem footnote to howl as holy, 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 holy. Holy is the hand, the fist, that and that body part and this part and this holy, holy, and I really feel that Allen Ginsberg in this Walt Whitman. Why didn't I bring that book out here? But if Jeff is still there, I will close with this poem in Jeff's Bailey's book. Speaks for itself. Neighbor, you had to confirm what your prying mind thought it had already known. So when I didn't care I may offend you, you had the audacity to wonder. I didn't feel ashamed by your reproach, rooted in denial of what I couldn't let go. I told you when clearly the answer was yes, what I couldn't resist. One-sided erotic fantasy, you in the adjoining split to my left, and I in my colonial. I turned 12 when I succumbed to my thoughts, not knowing I needed anyone to stimulate me as much as my own sex. When you said hello, when you were out plowing your lawn, I imagine you were playing coy with your smile, your shirt already off, and since our last encounter, I made you cop to your own uncertainty. Neighbor, 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 I see you and you see me through the reflection of my bedroom window. Neighbor, 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 you moved round and round my way. Neighbor, 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 come up to my room and play. Neighbor, neighbor, till then I'll be bumping this rug, thinking of my neighbor as lust, not always for you, compels me to do. This is from Speaks for Itself by Jeff Bailey. And that actually just kind of dovetails right into this number 24 that I was reading from Song of Myself, Walt Whitman, because he was saying the same damn things, but in words that were more YouTube friendly. Allen Ginsberg's words aren't YouTube friendly, so I didn't say those words. That other poem that I struggled to read had those words in it too. Blessings and peace to all of you, and thank you for tuning in to week 4, National Poetry Month, celebrated in the Chapel of Poetry. The Chapel of Poetry. And me am just a simple servant of the dollar. A simple servant of the dollar. I read at Fatima, I read one of a poem from Jeff's book. I read one of Jeff's poems here. And I read from Walt Whitman, and I read a few of my poems, and yes, but anyways, that is it. Blessings to you from this humble servant of George Washington, of the dollar bill, of money, of materialism of this world. Me, a humble servant of the material of this world. Blessings and peace to you. Until the next time, thank you and bye-bye.